They tell me you're a man with true grit.
What do you want, girl? Speak up at supper time.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you asked for it. It's time to drop the hammer on another episode of True Grit right here in the Quad Cities. I'm Shane Davis, former IMCA Modified National Champion, and my sidekick, Pat Moore, the sprint car guy. How you doing, Pat?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you today?
Man, doing great. We kind of got that rain behind us that we kind of muscled through, a couple of weeks ago. Got some great racing action in, the last weekend. And boy, local at Davenport Speedway, they put on a show.
Don't they always?
They
It's
do.
always a good show up there. I know you and I were out at the Muscatine County Fair on Wednesday, and then back at Davenport on Friday.
Yeah, right. West Liberty, Muscatine County Fair. Great venue, a lot of carnival rides, and of course, we had the wind blowing toward us, which meant the corn dogs, the funnel cakes,
Good thing I wasn't there.
the beef. Yeah, Tony, you would have been in trouble. And I'm like, man, I'm going to leave this announcer's booth. It's going to get quiet pretty quick here, and we're going to run down and get something to eat.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's fair week or fair month. We're coming into the fair season, and it's tempting. And but I tell you what, that always makes me think of summertime in the Midwest is getting to run at the great racetracks in front of packed stands with all of that good food like corn dogs, like you said, funnel cakes. Yeah. It's tempting. It's tempting.
They used to run that IMCA National Series back in the day when I was racing, and a lot of the dates we had were at fair races, and I really enjoyed going to Independence, Iowa, going to Liberty, making my rounds, because you knew it was going to be packed. So here we go. Late model feature winner up there at the West Liberty Fair race. Andy Eckrich, man, the Eckrich just got West Liberty figured out, picked off the IMCA late model win. IMCA modified went to Denny Eckrich, his brother.
Yes, he is. He was on a rail.
He was on a rail, and then Johnny Spawn, the double O car. I mean, when you go to Liberty and they're running stock cars, he's a man. He picked up the win in that double O machine. He's drove a little bit of everything. Matt Fulton picked up the IMCA Sport Mod win. Sport Compact went to Cody Staley. Now, that was on Wednesday. Then we came back to Davenport Speedway Friday night. And a little warm outside. I was worried about the track being a little dry. But the thing about Ricky and Brenda, Ricky is out there all week long with Dr. Al working that racetrack. And we had a phenomenal racetrack again Friday night.
And you know what? I can't say enough great things about the Kais. And so for people, the crowd, if they don't realize it or not, or sometimes you'll hear people moan when the promoter gets back out on the track to rework the track. But I tell you what, the Kais do a phenomenal job of making sure that track is prepped and ready and puts on phenomenal races. And I think you see it as a result of the car counts that just continuously increase.
You do, yeah. Again, last week we had high car counts over at Davenport. We had 27 IMCA modifieds, 27 sport mods, which surprised me. The week before we had 41, but we've been averaging about 34 sport mods a night. IMCA late models, north of 20, the street stock cars, 20 cars. I mean, a good show. Chuck Hanna picked off his first feature win in 2 years in that number 65 car and put on a show. And, man, he got up there high, wide, and handsome, dropped the hammer, and drove her home to victory. So I was real happy.
Shout out to Chuck. He did a great job.
Now we had, a modified, showed up 3 weeks ago, number 56, Dustin Kroenig. Yeah. And, man, the guy said, hey, I love the racetrack. I love the people. And he came back, picked off the IMCA modified feature win last Friday night at Davenport.
Held off Spencer Dirks,
Dirks,
if I remember right.
Yeah, that's right.
So obviously he's doing something right. Anybody who holds off Spencer is doing something right.
You are doing something right. That guy's just been on fire. Sport Mods, Tyler Soppy, two-time IMCA Sport Mod National Champion. Kind of got back in his winning ways, picked off the feature win Friday night. And street stock, it was Tony Vodreski driving one of the house cars. And 4-cylinder sport compact, Kyle Hawkins in that purple number 28.
Yeah, he's always a competitor. I mean, you just guarantee he's going to be up front.
That's right.
If he's, if that thing's still running, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I love about the sport compacts. They go in and you don't expect a car to tilt up and carry the left rear wheel like that.
Yeah,
I kind of geek out.
Pretty
on
cool.
That's pretty cool. I'm like, oh, how about that? 3 wheels. I realize they're front wheel drive, but
oh yeah. Hey, what's happening on the national scene, Pat?
On the national scene, the World of Outlaw late models kind of did a switcheroo this year this week when it came to late models. The World of Outlaws were off this last weekend. Lucas Oil was out in Nebraska at the I-80 Nationals. Tyler Erb, Turbo, led all 30 laps on Wednesday, all 53 laps on Thursday. Absolutely had that thing on a rail. Locked up both Wednesday and Thursday preliminaries. They had heat races on Friday, and then Saturday night, the big money, $53,000 to win.
Oh, boy. That's a lot of money.
That's right. Kyle, and I tell you what, and this was a packed house. Everybody was there. Kyle Bronson brought it home, the biggest win of his career. He was nearly in tears. It was a great scene. It was an absolutely great scene to see.
Real
him.
happy for him.
Tim McCready came home second, and Earl Pearson Jr. charged through the pack up to third. EPJ had a great run.
Good for him. He
Love
had
to
kind of
see
soft
EPJ.
start to his season. So
That's right.
Let's see he's got that number 1 car rolling.
You know, anybody that's sporting the gray hair like us that
Yeah.
charges through the pack like that, especially in a field like that, you know, got to give a shout
The
out.
53,000 might help you charge a little too.
It's funny how
Yeah,
that
it
works.
would.
A little bit
Puts a
of
little
an
incentive on the table for you.
And in the Dirt Car Summer Nationals Tour, Bobby Pierce won last night in Richmond. Ashton Winger won Clarksville on Saturday. Pierce won a hard-fought battle in Granite City, or whatever they call that, the track just east of St. Louis, on Friday night. And also on Thursday in Springfield Speedway.
All right.
And Bobby ran second in both of the races and leads the national points. Just found out here a couple hours ago that tonight's race in Clarksville, Kentucky is already rained out.
Rained out.
It's rained out. Bobby was running points for the championship, of which he's got a pretty solid hand on that. But he's left Kentucky on his way north and will be here in Davenport to run the Mars race here tomorrow night for $10,000 to win.
Wow.
In the world of outlaw sprint cars, the Champion Oil Summer Nationals in Williams Grove. Friday, Sheldon Hudenshield ran a phenomenal race. It was back and forth to bring home his first win out in Williams Grove. And on Saturday, Brent Marks, he's running the Outlaw Tour now, but he's a Pennsylvania native, dueled with Donnie Schatz to bring home the big payday.
All right.
Great racing. I don't know if you've ever run there, but that track is something to behold.
Where's that at?
Williams Grove in Pennsylvania.
That's the one with the bridge over.
The bridge over long.
back
They
strip.
look like an alley. I grew up over in Moline, and we had a tiny little alley between garages, and that's kind of what the straightaways look like. Except and they're just about as long. They're like 3 blocks long and just about as wide. So
All right.
walls on both sides. But,
Sure.
and the World of Outlaws. So everybody's coming from out west in Nebraska on their way to the Prairie Dirt Classic, which starts Friday in Fairbury, Illinois. Big money, big event, big prestige.
Yeah.
It should be a good show. Everybody and their brother is on their way there. The Summer Nationals I talked about tonight is getting rained out, but everybody coming through tomorrow night here in town, in Davenport, just a mile up Locust Street. The Mars Late Model Series is running in Davenport for $10,000 to win tomorrow night.
Going to be a great show.
There's going to be some. We're going
Going
to
to
see.
be the place to be.
There's going to be some big boys here. I tell
Yeah.
you that. I tell you that. Like I said, I know Bobby's coming, and I know a couple other people, and we can talk about it here in a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, when you go down top 10 point standings, you're talking about Brian Shirley.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. Jason Feger,
Yeah.
Tanner English, Ryan Unzicker, Dennis Erb Jr.,
Yep.
Gordy Gundaker in his number 11 machine. Brandon Shepard sitting in 7th in point standings right now. You haven't heard whether or not he's going to be there.
They originally said they were going to be here, and then they've chosen to get ready for the Prairie Dirt Classic. Is what
Okay.
I'm under understanding.
Yeah, and I think with Brandon, he's from down by Springfield, and even if he was going to bring his own car to try to get home and get his equipment and get back, it might be kind of tough. So.
All right. Well, hey, I'm going to introduce you, Tony.
All right.
Before we get you rolling here, our special guest, glad to have Tonny Izzo Jr. on the show.
Welcome.
And welcome, Tony. And I want to say, hey, like and share the show you're watching right now. Share it with your friends. Share it with everybody to help get the numbers up where we'd like them to be. And, Pat, you got any other things? Hey, if you got any questions, type them in the message.
Right.
We'll get to them.
That's right.
We'll answer those messages. And, we got some stuff to give away. And we're going to be asking you some questions later on. Give us the right answer, and you know how the show goes. We're going to give you some cool door prizes.
Yeah,
So
always love that. You
Yeah,
know,
we
I love
kinda-
the trivia stuff. And like Shane said, if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and Twitch. Please like and share. It helps us more than you realize. So make sure you smash the like button and also share it.
yeah, all right. Well, hey, let's Wookie. Put up those black and white pics. I want to look at Tony Izzo. He was the
Not with the mullet.
This was Dad.
Oh,
We're going to
there's
start
Dad.
out with.
Oh,
Now I got to
yeah.
tell you, Tony, this was my favorite race car ever. You know, had the Army sponsor on it. Great looking car. Your dad was a good looking man. Won 9 championships at Santa Fe, and you know he was the king of Santa Fe, and that was really the place to be for a lot of years. I mean, some of our Iowa guys, Gary Webb would zip over there and race. Roger Dolan, you know, the best of the best from our area. But man, your dad, he got her done.
Yeah, he did. He constantly teases us. Well, he teases me when I was racing, but he's a diehard watcher.
Yeah.
So he's figured out how to watch all these races that are on TV. You know,
Nice.
so he's
Good for him.
the thing that aggravates him, or not aggravates him, but he makes a point of reminding me to remind everybody else, is that Santa Fe used to have a rule where if you were the top 12 moneymaker
Okay.
from the previous week,
Would've
you
been
had to
your
start
dad.
in the last 12 spots.
Oh my God.
So my dad started 20th plus every year,
Yeah.
won 20 plus, 30 plus features every year from
Every
20th
year.
spot in 9 championships. And that, you know, totally different time. You can't ask a guy to start back today as
Right.
competitive as the cars are. And,
Okay.
you know, he's like, the thing that aggravates him, or that he brings to note the most, is that why do they start the fast guy in the front of the heat and on the front of the feature? And it's just the way that today's cars are. Basically, it comes down to qualifying is going to get you, you're going to set you up for the night. Where years ago you could get by with starting 20th and you have a better car, but just everybody's so competitive today. So it's a different world. But that's the one thing that he makes a point of, is that
Me too. I got to tell you, Tony. You know, like the IMCA inverted the top 12. I started 12th in the
Right.
feature every night. Did it for years. Had to, you know, bob and weave and work your way to the front. And I think it was a better show for the fan. And now the way they got it all set up, time trials, you know, hot time should have a meaning to it. Gets you, you know, ultimately if you qualify, you're going to be up front.
Right.
And, you know, our friend, the UMP modified driver,
Yeah, Nick Hoffman.
Nick Hoffman.
How about
he
that?
has been on a tear, and I'm not taking anything away from Nick Hoffman. But, boy, when you start on the pole every night, it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, in you know, like we were talking earlier, just getting to the pole, you know,
Right.
is hard. And so for those of you guys that aren't aware, in the Summer Nationals Modified Tour, Nick Hoffman, they've run 21 races so far. Nick Hoffman's won 17 of those 21 races. Actually, was news the other night down in Granite City when Bobby won down at Granite City, or almost won down in Granite City, that Nick actually didn't win, which was actually news. And I tell you what, he absolutely drove the wheels off that car.
He does.
He builds his own cars. They're the elite chassis.
Yeah.
And everywhere he goes, I remember hearing about this guy down in Florida, and he is one of the perennial winners everywhere he goes. And I tell you what, he's proven it this summer on the Summer Nationals Tour.
Now, speaking of perennial winners, too, we got, let's see, Ed Bennyfield. Rick Stone says Ricky Thornton Jr.'s in town.
Yeah.
Man, that's going to be a hot shoe. Hey, I wanted to say happy belated birthday to Tony Izzo Sr., June 13th. 77 years old. It just don't seem possible. And I made a little note up here, Mr. Santa Fe.
yeah,
about
King of the Clay.
He was, man.
That's what they call him, King of the Clay.
That's right.
A side note, he went in for some surgery today, but everybody always asks how he's doing, and he's 77 and still as sharp as a pencil. And he had a little procedure today that we've been told went well. So I appreciate everybody always asking how he's doing, and the support that you've showed not only him but my family, my mom, my brother, my sisters, and all of us for all the years of what we've done with racing.
Yeah, here, thoughts
Well,
and
you
prayers
guys-
are with him.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers are with you, and you guys bring a lot to the table. So, and again, a little bit of backstory, what Tony was talking about his dad and Santa Fe. In case nobody's familiar, or the people are maybe not as familiar with Santa Fe, that was a hard racetrack to run. So it was they called it a half mile, but it was not a half. I mean, I don't think if you ran around the pit area and included the grandstands, I don't think it was a half mile. Long straightaways, super
Very
tight
tight corners.
very narrow,
Flat.
hard to pass. What was his secret there?
He'd figure out how to go on the outside if he had to, he just would go where they weren't.
Yeah.
Just would go where they were not. And I think it got to a point, it was more of a intimidation factor at some point too, where
it does
was
work that way.
You know, where just people were more worried about trying to beat him instead of coming there and just running their show. So he kind of mentally had him.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, the one thing, he'd help anybody.
Yeah.
And everybody'd say, why are you trying to help that guy set up his race car?
Yeah.
I don't need him spinning out in front of me.
Right.
I don't need him causing yellows. I
Makes
want him
sense.
out there battling me, making me stronger.
That's
I mean, he put guys in race cars that were struggling at times, that were losing rides or whatever. I mean, I know at one time, not only did he have his own car out there, but he owned 3 or 4 of the cars that were out there racing. So
Oh man, that's
maybe that's how he won. He owned all the cars.
Hey, yeah, just tell him you got to finish behind me.
Yeah,
That's right.
how it works. Yeah,
That's right. And
So-
another cool thing about that track, I don't know, did you ever run there, Shane?
No, went up there and watched a lot of races. Never ran Santa Fe.
So they had a neat little short quarter mile, and then they had the half mile, which was a quarter mile plus just a little bit. But then when you came off of turn 2 of the half mile, you actually had to run uphill to the banking for the quarter mile. So in a sprint car, it was like a ramp.
Yeah.
So you come off of turn 2 about a third of the way down the back straightaway, you go over a rise, and it would be like almost like a jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place was.
I got a funny story about that. Buddy
Let's hear
Baker
it.
come to drive one of my dad's cars. They used to bring the NASCAR guys into Santa Fe to do that
Yeah.
deal. He says, hey, how do I know where to lift? He says, at this place, he says, when you go over the hump, start lifting. Buddy Baker went over the hump, and he said, you never tell me there was a hump on both sides of the racetrack. Put her down in the fence. So,
Nice.
yeah, he was quite the character. He'd have fun when the NASCAR guys would come in. I'll tell you, we got some stories about Daryl Waltrip when he come and drove the car and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Let's hear it.
well, just Daryl went out, made some laps, came in and said to my dad, he says, the car is loose. Well, my dad had a guy working for him that worked at his body shop, didn't speak a lick of English. My dad grabs him and said, this is your crew chief, tell him whatever you need. Daryl Waltrip says, loose,
Love it.
the car's loose. The guy says, what be loose? I tightened up everything. I check everything for you. What be loose? I don't understand what's loose. So
Oh my God.
one of the funniest stories, Santa Fe stories about my dad, real quick, is he just, as serious as he was and stuff, he still was the jokester. I mean, I remember one time he snuck up behind the pace car, because they used to have the pace car go out for every yellow, and it'd shoot out the half mile onto the quarter mile. Well, he decided he thought it'd be pretty funny to go, because the guy would get out of the car and he'd stand and watch the race, and he'd help spot.
Sure.
So he snuck up behind this Toyota Corolla they had or whatever at the time, and he jacked the rear tires off the ground just far enough, right? The first yellow that comes out, the guy jumps in the pace car to go, and they're yelling on the radio, go, 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 and he's
He ain't going anywhere.
gassing it. Dropped the jack, and he went out the pit opening as fast as he possibly could. So
Love it.
yeah,
Love
So
it.
what was it like, growing up under a legend like him, Tony? Did you just start out taking you to the races and you were in the stands, or did you get
no,
down
I
the
told the
pits
story the
eventually?
other day. Somebody said, I said, if it wasn't for my mom, I probably wouldn't have raced.
Really?
The first race I ever had, my dad didn't even know I was in it.
Okay.
Somebody come over and said, you might want to go watch that 4-cylinder race.
All right.
My dad says, I'm working on my race car. What do I need to go watch the 4-cylinder race for? He said, your son's out there.
Oh boy.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
He's not out there. They said, your son's out there in the 4-cylinder race. You might want to get up there and watch. So
Yeah.
my mom bought a car. We never told him, because we weren't sure what his reaction was going to be.
Oh boy.
But once she did that, and once we broke the ice with that, he was all in with giving us and me and my brother and whatever we needed. The both of them gave us whatever we needed whenever we needed to be
that's
competitive.
great.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Nice.
That's awesome. So let's see, when I looked out those numbers, 77, 78, 79, 80 track champion at Santa Fe, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. Now, it's one thing to win a championship at a track. It's tough. Yeah, but to sit there and have such a dominant run, behind the wheel of one of those cars. I mean, Jimmy O'Connor, the number 8 ride, that was, he was always tough. Arnie Gardner, I first saw him. He drove a car at Maquoketa had a special hand one night, and Dwayne Steffi ended up winning it. But then Dad took me up to Santa Fe, and we got to watch him run up there.
Well, the more crazy thing about it is 9 track championships, running 3 businesses,
Come on,
raising a family.
how do you do it?
And
That's
everything
crazy.
else, you know. So that's really where that's really where the specialness in something like that happens.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Tony, I'm going to tell you what, your car, you had number 16 on it. Get a picture of one of those 16 cars up there with some paint on it. That was always, I thought, man, this guy shows up the racetrack. That was diecast that, I had a picture of. Pink car, pink
Well, that
fire
Army car
suit.
that you were just showing was a pink car also.
Yeah.
My dad always had pink cars, and we did a pink car, I think the first year that I went to the World 100.
Okay.
We painted it pink like my dad's car to just,
Way to honor him.
to honor it, and just always at the World 100, it was reveal what,
Sure.
Yeah.
your schemes, your best looking whatever. And we went there with a pink car, and it took a very well liking to it. We had to completely paint and prep each panel ourselves. You couldn't buy that pink back then, and we'd have to sand it, prep it, and paint it. It was actually it's a Panther pink is what they call it. It's a Chrysler.
You're right, Chrysler color.
It's a Chrysler Panther pink.
Nice.
Had it on like 70 Dusters.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Mopar
Yep.
color. Wow. That's something else. Tell the fans, how'd you end up with number 16, Tony?
Well, like I was telling you earlier, I ended up with always wanted a 6 in my number because of my dad being 66. And
Yeah.
through Little League and baseball and whatnot, they didn't have numbers that high. So I always tried to get a 6.
Yeah.
And then when I started playing high school hockey, I ended up with 16. And that's when I started racing, was my senior year of high school. So
What position?
mostly left wing. We played a little bit of center.
Okay.
But our senior year when we won the Catholic League state championship and stuff, our senior
man.
year.
Look out.
Very cool.
My brother Joey was the hockey player. He
Right.
went to Montreal for 2 years.
Oh, boy.
Lived with a family up there and played junior hockey and all that.
Oh,
And
my gosh.
Really wish he would have stuck with that
Right.
a little more because, he was the hockey player of the
He was the
family.
man.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
I love
right.
hockey.
Hey, Wook, you got a picture of that yellow late model?
I always love stories
Right
of how
there.
people come
Tony?
up with their numbers.
That car was
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. I mean, you think about, that's been a few years ago, but if you rolled out with that paint scheme today, it looked beautiful. One thing I liked about race cars is I like big numbers. I liked them to not have a lot of splash to where you couldn't read anything.
Right.
And that was a beautiful car. Now, where was that car?
Oh, that's ironic that you bring that up.
Yeah.
That's the last time I raced the World 100. So
Okay.
pink car the first time I ever went, yellow and white car the last time I ever went.
And what year would that have been, Tom?
I would say that was probably 02 or 03.
Okay.
I'm thinking was the last time we went there. And
What kind of car was that?
that was the CJ Rayburn car
Oh,
that we
boy.
designed the back ourselves, did a lot of things on the back end of it that we were trying and stuff. It just that was like I said, that was the last time we went out there and attempted. We didn't do very well. We just struggled all weekend. So
But you were there.
that's it.
I
mean, again, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. We were there in the days. I mean, I'm proud to say I qualified third for the World 100 when it was 280 plus cars
exactly.
there.
And people don't,
Right.
and
understand that.
I've made the World 100 when it was 280 cars. And
Yeah,
not to take anything away from anybody that makes
Right.
it today,
Exactly.
Right.
but years ago you went there in hopes of being in the top 120 qualifiers
Right.
just so you got to run a heat race.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't get 120 cars no more.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just
Different times.
It is what it is. But man, to think some of the things we've accomplished. Like I said, I'm proud to say that I made the World 100 when it was that, and I've qualified very well over there. For Brian to win it twice, your guest 2 weeks ago
Sure.
is just amazing too. Just because
Sure.
there's just so much that goes into that whole. There's so much luck that nobody, for even like him to win it twice, Scott Bloomquist to win it as many times as he has, and Billy Moyer, for as much luck that goes into that race,
There you
as
go.
much that goes on from the minute you pull in that gate on Wednesday or Thursday to Saturday, to
Right.
be able to accomplish that numerous times is just amazing.
It's
Nobody has
crazy.
no clue.
And the way I look at it is there are certain races that are more than just a race. They're an event. And it's not just the social thing. Like you say, it takes so much to win it. You have the Chili Bowl in midget racing. You have the Knoxville Nationals in sprint car racing, and you have the World 100 in late models. And they're similar in that you're absolutely right. It takes a lot of luck, and you also, the level of competition, and the people that haven't competed at that level have no idea how hard it is to be one out of 100 or 200 cars that are able to accomplish it once, let alone multiple times. So yeah, you should wear that.
Impressed with like a guy like Tim McCready going and winning the Chili Bowl just blows my mind because again, just needing so many things to go right to begin with, and here's a guy who doesn't drive them on a daily basis, but everything just fell into place. The right setup, the right preparation, the right draw. I mean, there's just so many things,
so many factors. Yeah.
And you have to have that skill level, that flexibility and skill level, and the ability to adapt to the different type of car. It's pretty impressive.
Pat, who's that kid we're talking about? He's run some Cup and sprint cars and Chili Bowl and late model.
Kyle something or other.
Yeah, what's his name?
I'm still not sold on him yet. I'm not sure if he's really going to amount to much. He's got a lot of potential, but
Hey, Tommy, he's going to be in Fairbury this weekend for the Purdy Classic.
We've watched
Kyle Larson. He's
just phenomenal.
He's a generational level talent.
He is.
Yeah, he must have just such a feel that, again, like we were talking in the break or before we ever started about help, and you're only as good as the people around you, and he obviously has good people that he could bring them the information back to him that they can just say this is what he needs.
All right. Hey, we're going to give some stuff away. We're going to have our first question here. So
what are we going to give away, first of all?
Hey, we got some cool Mars.
Not my mind. I only have a little bit of it left.
Look at that. There you go. Yeah, and we got some All-Star Performance caps. You can see they're on camera. They are great. And hopefully, Wookie had the right camera on me when I was holding that cap up. And
love All-Star products.
We're going to ask first question, how many cars raced the Mars Series so far this year in 2021? And just go ahead.
Total number of cars.
Yeah, total number of cars.
Total number of different drivers that have competed at the 10 events we've had. Correct?
There you go. Type it in, and we'll start looking at the totals. When we get a winner, we'll record it. Remember, we're over here at the Done Right TV studio live. We're at 1414 West Locust Street in Davenport, Iowa, right down from Davenport Speedway. So
that's right.
How many cars raced Mars Series in 2021? Total amount of different drivers that have been in it. And we're going to give you a cool ball cap. You can pick it up here at the studio. Okay.
And how are they going to enter, Shane? Whether they're on Facebook or YouTube, right?
Yeah. So we've got all three of them up there right now. We got people guessing. Yeah. Timbo Gould's at 54. And
comments below.
Yeah, we're going to have, before Tony zips out of here, we're going to have him autograph some of this stuff. So it's real cool. And you've got one, CJ Cross at 66. We're watching those numbers. As soon as we see the correct number, we'll let you know. And that is the number we went with. So, Tony, let's talk about that Mars race we got coming up tomorrow. Hoker 50, $10,000 to win. Now, when you guys have been in town with us in the past, and you've actually been Mars Racing Series at Davenport 10 times, in the history of Mars. But we're going to be there tomorrow. Ricky Thornton Jr., Bobby Pierce, and we're going to have the best of the best there, and it's going to be the place to be.
I think Hudson O'Neill.
Yeah, he's already out there. We stopped at the track on the way here. He's already out there working on his stuff. I see somebody look what Brandon Overton did at the World 100 this year, or at the Dream. I'm sorry, the Dream.
That's right.
He's in town. He's going to be here. So the number one driver in the country is going to be competing tomorrow. And we're lucky enough to be sandwiched between two $50,000 to win races.
That's right.
The Kosiskis went way above and beyond out at the Silver Dollar Nationals and paid some outrageous amount of money. That good for them. I love to see that. If Kosiskis are racers, not take anything away from promoters who aren't a racer, but I've always said the thing that I like about my successful shows, it allows me to give back to the racer, do another one. And the $53,000 that they're paying out there, is just and Fairbury this year stepping up and being the first time they're paying. I think it's the biggest paying race in Illinois has ever been. I don't think anything's even been close. I think 10,000 or 20,000 might have been the most we've ever done in Illinois. So being sandwiched between two of them is what's allowing us to have a great field of cars. But that wasn't by accident. You know, World of Outlaws has come here on this date in the past, and with their scheduling changing the way they did, and the bigger show that they're planning out here at the Davenport Speedway in
That's right. Coming up in August. 26th, 27th, 28th.
which is going to be a great event. They chose to not do this midweek show, and then me and Ricky got together and jumped right on it with a Mars Series race. And I think, like you said, I mean, we know we're going to have a lot of the heavy hitters. A lot of guys will opt out to be ready for that 50,000.
Sure.
But I still think you're going to see. You know, you're going to see a mixture of guys that you don't see everywhere else.
That's right.
World of Outlaw guys getting ready for August.
Yeah.
World of Outlaw guys getting ready for Prairie Dirt Classic.
Right.
Lucas guys that came from I-80 getting ready to go to Prairie Dirt Classic. So it's going to be
interesting. Hey, I'm looking at Mike McGuire. You guessed 90. We got to go a little higher. Still not on the number. A little higher than Mike McGuire's number 90 guess. And we will be there. We've got a lot of good prizes to give away. So
We're getting warmer.
keep on guessing. We're getting a little warmer. And I want to let you know, also coming up here, we're going to have the Ronnie Weed Memorial on August 13th over at Davenport Speedway. And then, like we said, World Outlaw Race is coming up August 26th. 27th, 28th. Tickets are on sale right now for that show, worldoutlaws.com. And for camping information, call the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds at 563-326-5338. Okay, Carl Thompson, you are too high. Lloyd Bacon, you're too high. CJ, you're getting real close. CJ's the close one.
Just
Getting
barely.
real hot.
Oh, yeah, Timbo Gold is pretty close, too.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Dave Walden, you're high.
your numbers
CJ's
high. I didn't mean you were high.
Yeah, there you go, Dave.
Also,
Don't call her flagman high here.
Also,
Hey,
guys,
oh,
please make sure that you like.
there
and
we
share.
go. Bob Danielson, you are the winner. So we're going to
There
mark
we go.
this down. You will get a free hat autographed by Tony. And you are the winner at 102, Bob Danielson. The studio is at 1414 West Locust.
That's right.
We're right down from the Speedway. Swing by the studio if you come to town tomorrow to watch a race. We're open until 5 o'clock. Stop in. No, let's see.
We can have it at the souvenir trailer tomorrow if you respond back on here that you're going to have it.
That's what we'll do.
And he can
Tony,
pick it
we'll
up. We're
your
going to have
autograph
all of
signed.
our items. We got our new shirts for this event, and we got the new koozies. And anybody that wins that responds on here that you'll be at the track, we'll just have you can pick it up at the souvenir trailer.
So, Bob, are you going to be at the racetrack, or do you want to pick it up here at the studio? Just respond down on the message board.
And I started saying it when we had a winner. If you haven't already, please make sure you like and share. It helps us out, and our numbers have been increasing weekly, and so we like to get this out to as many people as absolutely possible.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Help make this a success, because there you can never promote enough in this business.
You just can't.
You can't take it from a promoter who thinks he's got all the ends covered, and then have somebody say, "I didn't even know you guys were racing this week."
I know that breaks your heart.
And it's just, "Oh, I didn't even know there's a racetrack in town."
Come on.
And it's
Yeah.
and it's like, you
What are
know,
saying?
we're one of those that still try to hand out the paper flyers at the track, because
It works.
There's not a lot of, I mean, not everybody is on Facebook, believe it or not.
Yeah, believe it or not.
I can tell you
Now
that.
you're talking, like, I'm 62 years old. They didn't introduce a PC till 1980.
Yep.
Hey, I'm out of college by then.
Right.
And so there you go. So anyway, we've also got some tickets we can give away to the race tomorrow, but hang on here. Wanted to ask you, now when we had Gary Webb in here a couple of weeks, Tony, I said, what was your greatest racing experience and what was your worst memory in racing? And he said, up there at Santa Fe, 1990 Santa Fe National Clay Track Championship. And he said, man, that pileup they had, if you look it up on the internet, it's still posted on there. He said, man, I went into, a cloud of dust. And he said, I hit that wreck wide open. And I don't know how long it took to clear that wreck. I wasn't at that show. But Webb was telling me hours. I mean, he said, we could have used a crane to lift all the cars off one another. But he said, thank God there were no fires or anything like that.
Right.
But
Yeah, how there wasn't is still mind-boggling to me. I mean, I know it made people sick.
yeah,
Literally throwing up, watching it happen and seeing cars sitting there and people running there wide open, and you just hear the throttle just stop, and the next thing you know, the crash. And when the dust finally settled and you look back, and there was 10 to 12 cars tall
Right.
yeah.
that they just kept going under and under.
Under and
it just
under.
was just unbelievable.
Tony, you were in that.
Well, yeah, we raced that race. I was telling you earlier, I feel like we were one of the first cars that was, what had happened real quickly, so everybody, you know, and Little John gets a bad rap for this all the time, that he was, Little John Provenzano, which I seen somebody post on here, gets a bad rap that he was the cause of the accident. He broke coming out of turn 2, was slowing on the racetrack, and cars went around the left side, around the routes, around them to avoid them,
Right.
and it kicked up a lot of dust where guys couldn't see, and guys just started spinning. I remember slowing down for it because I seen guys starting to spin, being one of the first cars, and getting hit so hard that it actually pole vaulted me through it before they all started piling up. And then as we came down the front straight and we looked across, I just couldn't believe my eyes. And first thoughts were, "Where's my dad?" Because we were in
Right.
the race together,
Right.
and I seen
Yeah.
he was okay. And then next thought was start praying for all these guys, because it was it was bad. And the good Lord was looking over every one of them, because everybody walked out. I mean, there was a lot of torn up race
Right.
cars,
Yeah.
but nobody left the facility in an ambulance.
Now, Webb told me he had just sold the car to Dick Plug, and he said, man, when I got that thing home, I, stuck it in the garage and locked the thing down and, got to work fixing it because, he's driving somebody else's car, essentially. And in that wreck, it was bad. He said, man, I just kept hearing these engines coming in at, 7,500, $8,000, and then they just shut off. And he's like, when is this going to end? And he said, I just hung onto the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that I was one of the first ones and didn't.
Proof there is a God. Proof there is a God. So let's see. We've given away one of our prizes. That's going to be Bob Danielson. Bob, we can have that. Like I said, we can have it at the trailer tomorrow at the racetrack. And Tony, you're going to have the souvenir trailer out
Correct.
by the grandstand area.
Yep, with all our new shirts, all our new items.
Man,
I have
I
it all
can't
set
wait.
up, ready to go.
I know. Funny thing about it is Pat and I were always up in the announcer's booth. By the time we get everything unplugged, put away, it's 10:30, and the souvenir trailers are locked and loaded and heading down the road. So
Yep, that's
we're going to
right.
have to get out there kind of early tomorrow and try to get some stuff.
I'll be there early.
Yeah, all right.
Get your swag on.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
That's
one of the
right.
things we're going to do, Tony, we've done in the past, is we do a live pit walkthrough. Now, the show is going to be on Flow Racing.
That's right.
And Done Right TV, we're going to do a live walkthrough down the pit area, kind of interview some drivers. I'm going to say, we've done that at the Lucas Oil show. They had it at Macokota. We had 7,000 people watching. Is that crazy?
That's
Just crazy.
Oh,
They
they're a
give you
great
this-
idea, and you guys do a great job of that to, help promote the evening's events and letting the people know who's there and whatnot. Yes, that's a great
It's a good time.
added addition to the race.
Yeah, so let's go on down here, Tony. Let's see. I wrote down some numbers. Now, 1995, I had run across this. You're at that point in your career, 163 top fives, 284 top tens, 40 feature wins. In the article that I read, that was up to 1995. But I mean, when you start looking at those stats, 163 top fives. How'd you do it, man?
A lot of hard work.
That's the answer.
I mean, I did it because I had the luxuries to do it.
Right.
We did win a lot of races at tracks that my mom and dad owned, but I'm going to tell you, we won a lot of races at a lot of tracks they had nothing to do with.
Right.
And I've run fourth in the Dirt Track World Championship, and I'm not, again, trying to beat my drum, but I am beating my drum a little bit
got
because
to.
I earned it.
That's why we're here.
And I got to tell
But
you,
what I always would tell everybody that thought that there was an advantage because my parents own a racetrack, I said the only advantage that my parents give me is they allow me to work on my race car 7 days a week if I want,
yeah,
24 hours a day, and they don't make me go get another job or do
Right.
whatever. I was told, do good in school, graduate high school, you can race And if you stay out of trouble, stay out of the gin mills, stay off the drugs, you'll always have a race car. And that was what I did. I graduated high school and worked day and night and just outworked people.
Yeah. It's even having working for the Kais, and I've worked for a lot of promoters over the years, and worked at a lot of racetrack, raced a lot of tracks. An example would be Ricky and Brenda Kai. Now, Justin runs there. It's almost a disadvantage when mom and dad run the track and you're there, because they don't want anything to look like an advantage.
Right.
So they actually are tougher on that car than the other cars on the Speedway. And so, he's got his work cut out for him.
Well, we just
every
went
night.
through that on that Summer Nationals event where we were in line for a provisional, and I went to Ricky and said, who do you want to put in? He said, well, who do you want to put in? I said, well, all my guys are kind of in. I says, it's up to you. And he says, I'd rather not pick or choose anybody. He said, because what if it was
Right.
the 15 car that was next in line? He said, I just, and he's got a tough job to deal with there. And, so it was really kind of tough. And we left it up to we put it in the hands of UMP at that point.
Okay.
The track said we don't run a weekly UMP open late model, so all his guys were in.
Right.
All my guys who supported my Summer National races were in, so we kind of left it up to UMP to take the highest guy
Sure.
in points that finished up there. That was all. It's a tough thing to do.
Yeah. Hey, we got another hat we're going to give away. Autographed hat, All-Star Performance. So here we got, what year did Tonny Izzo win the UMP National Championship? What year did Tonny Izzo win the UMP National Championship? Put it on the message board. We'll give one of these hats away, and we'll also have it at the souvenir trailer at the racetrack tomorrow night for you to pick that up, the lucky winner. So go ahead and type in the message board, and Timbo Gould, you are something else. Okay. Lloyd Bacon, come on, man.
I wish I was racing in 76.
I was racing in 76, but not
I was
Tony.
6 years old.
Right. You were thinking about racing.
Tell you what, I would think.
Christian Baldock, come on, 1902. We're really rolling the clock back. You better get back with Rocket Rob and start putting a race car together.
Yeah.
Just keep guessing there. And
Boy, there's some
CJ
really
Cross,
close ones, yeah.
oh my God. Cross and Gould, you are close.
Splitting the difference, I think, aren't they?
So you run a lot of tracks
Yeah,
over the
just
years,
give it
Tony. We're going to keep watching that board there.
Hey, we got a winner.
We got one. Gus
about that?
Grip, my God. I hope you're going to the racetrack tomorrow night. We're going to give two of them away. We had Gus Grip and Dave Walton come in together. So we're going to be Gus Grip.
Nice.
Dave Walden can't play. He's an employee.
Yeah, there you go. You're flagging. Come on. He likes hats, so.
So, Tony, you've raced around a lot, and I think Shane might have been just starting to ask this question. Everybody has a favorite track. What's yours? What's your favorite track that you've ever run?
Either Brownstown, Indiana, or Cedar Lake, Wisconsin. One of the two.
Nice. I did not expect either one of those.
Okay.
Had a lot of success at both.
Yeah.
Sat on the pole of a 40,000 to win race at Cedar Lake.
Okay.
Had a lot of success up there. Won a ton of races not a ton of races. I consider them a ton. 4 or 5 races at Brownstown, Indiana. When you talk about, it was just go to Brownstown and hope you made the race. I mean, that was when the cream of the crop was there on Saturday nights, and we went there and won a night before a Stars race. And
hang on a minute here, Tony.
Nice.
Wookie, you got a picture of Tony winning the race at Brownstown, and you've got the winner's board. Why don't you pop that up on the screen?
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the
Northern All-Star one.
or the
If you see a board in front of the car, that's the one. Number 16 with a
There it is.
There you go.
How about that?
Brownstown Speedway feature winner. Now, if you
Nice.
went Brownstown, man, you're doing something.
That's right.
And again, pink.
That's right.
Man, I love that.
It's still a racing hotbed now.
It is. So go ahead with your story, Tony.
Well, it was just a place that we, obviously you like the places that you have the most success at. But I mean, I had more success at Kankakee Speedway than I did anywhere, but I wouldn't consider it, one of my favorite racetracks. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's changed a few times over the last couple of years, but just there was something about, going to Brownstown and and knowing that if you went there and you competed and you were doing something. And we'd always start out early, go there and get a real good test to see where we were going to be for the season, because Southern Indiana, so they would start a month or two earlier than what we would down here.
Right.
That right there is actually the very first Indiana icebreaker in 1998, maybe.
All right.
They're all Lucas Oil races now, the Indiana icebreaker, but I was the very first winner of the Indiana icebreaker there.
Who's that guy holding the checkered flag? That skinny one.
I don't know, huh? He even smiles. We even got a full head of hair.
Oh my God, that is something else. And man, that was about the time everybody was coming into GRTs. They just started flooding the area. And God, there was a time up here in the Midwest and the tracks that I went to, it was like it had to be half the cars were GRTs in the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's something else. So hey, we got so the two winners. We just brought that up of the ball caps. Gus Grip, Dave Walden. We will have them at the souvenir trailer tomorrow night at Davenport Speedway. Make sure and show up and pick up your ball cap. Dave, you're going to have to go there before you go to the infield. And Gus Grip might be a little late, but you'll be there. That's okay. We'll hang on to the hat. We'll have that
Tony,
there. Okay.
where can people, if somebody's not coming tomorrow, where can people find out more information on Mars and the schedule and the like? Do you guys have a website?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. At www, obviously, MarsRacingSeries.com.
Yeah. We
have all the information up there. And if you follow us on our Facebook page, we have two dedicated people to constantly update. So you'll have the heat race finishes as fast as you can get them anywhere.
Nice.
We'll have photos on our page of who's here, and
again, go to Done Right TV on Facebook tomorrow. Just go to our Facebook page. You're going to see the live video. We're going to do a pit walk through. It's probably going to be around, I'm going to say about 4:30, maybe 4 o'clock, 4:35. Just watch for the video to start. Click on it. It's free. You can see all the drivers.
My guys are working on a driver's list tonight.
Good.
I keep getting email or text messages from guys who were on the fence about coming or not. But we're going to put something out here real soon. There you go.
There you go. Done Right TV posts. MarsRacingSeries.com.
We're going to have a list out before the night's over of all the people that have made some sort of confirmation with us, so that the people know. And we do a really
do you
good
have
job.
that flyer you can put up there, Mars, for the race tomorrow? 10,000 to win.
One of the things, speaking of social media, one of the things that I'd like to put out there for anybody and everybody watching this, and I've already done this myself, is I encourage all race fans to like and share not only our show, but also this stuff. If you're going to go to the races, man, share it on your page. Let all of your friends, racing friends and non-racing friends, know where you're going, what you're doing.
Yeah,
that brings more people into it than we realize.
And your sponsors,
and I don't want
Tony,
to throw anybody under the bus here, but the racers aren't the easiest people to get to, and they're busy. Don't get me wrong, and nobody wants to commit to something too soon, but the racers really should do a better job of letting people know when they're coming and not coming. I see a little bit of lacking there, but that's why we do our work to try and get as much information as we can to the fan. But share it, like it, get it out there, because you would think, like you said, that you've covered all the grounds of promoting, but you just can't believe the people that still just, I didn't even know you were racing. I didn't even know this was in town. So everything helps.
And I think a lot of people, they'll post where they're at for dinner, but somehow they don't post when they get to the racetrack.
Here's what I'd like to point out, too. Tony, you got Hoker Trucking, LLC, Dixon, Iowa, sponsoring the race tomorrow, along with Roofer Chiropractic. I mean, how important are those sponsors to you, the promoter?
Very.
Very important.
Very.
Okay.
Jeff called me up 2 weeks ago and said, I know that I told you I wasn't going to be capable of help. Jeff's helped me so much in the past, Jeff Hoker Trucking. He helps so many people. I don't know how the guy does it. I wish people, Nick Jensen, hey boss, sorry. I just wish people realized, and maybe they do, but I mean, racing can't exist without a guy like Jeff Hoker. It's just you know, we often question and wonder, man, how's the guy do it? But, you know, he got himself involved with a lot of different things. And he said to me that he just was going to have to take a pass on any of the events with me this year and whatnot. And he's been so good to me in the past. That's fine. No big deal. But then he's seen this come up and he said, hey, a lot of my guys are going to be there. And he's really behind the Davenport push. He's really behind making sure Ricky and Brenda and everybody's got what they need there. So it was a no-brainer for him to be title sponsor for this race. And he just sent me a message and he said, hey, I want to be title sponsor for this thing. He said, can we make it happen? Well, absolutely. And then
Absolutely.
Michelle,
shout out to them.
you know, with Michelle Ruford, chiropractor, we've been talking for a couple of years here and there, back and forth. What can we do? And I said, well, put something together for this race and see how much we can grow it. So between the two of them, I think it's one of the other reasons that we're going. The money that Jeff Hoker put our way for this event allowed us to up the starting money by $100 per spot. We're giving $200 to every car that comes through the gate, which doesn't sound like a lot of money because
non-qualifiers get $200.
They're going to go home with $200 in their pocket, you know, and it wouldn't be possible without a sponsor like him that came. And it at the end of the day, it's not possible without the great fans that show up at the racetrack. We need all of you.
We need them.
We need you all to come out, and that's how they pay these big races. And you have to have these races to have the 30,000 to win races in August.
That's right. And I actually shared that. I shared the purse that had not only the starting pay, but all, you know, second, I think it's 5,000. And you know, and I think how much is it to start tomorrow? $600.
That's good.
And $200 for tow money. That's outstanding.
Yeah,
that's outstanding.
absolutely.
For the
And
non-racers, that's a ton of money.
We normally only start 22 cars, and we upped it to 24 cars.
Oh, wow.
So
be a good show.
we're going to start 2 more cars. They're going to go home with $600 each. But it's sad to hear, and not mention any names, but it is sad to hear people tell me, that purse ain't strong enough for us to come and race. You know, I get it.
Yeah.
Because, again, they just raced for 53, and they're going to race for 50 again.
Right.
But it's big picture stuff. You know, okay, it might not be enough for that one day, but if the Mars Series is going to stay around and you're going to need places to go race, you know, maybe you want to come to this race next year because you're in a different situation, different car owner, different deal.
Right.
To just not come because it's not paying the start money of a 10,000 to win Lucas race or a World Outlaw race. It's just, I don't have the corporate sponsors of a Lucas Oil race, and that's what it all comes down to. But they're going to miss out because, again, Ricky, Al, and everybody do such a great job with the racetrack. It's so racy, and it's a good test for these guys for this big money coming up in August.
We had a World Outlaw show, a year ago, and it was a quarter-mile show. And I remember after the race, Jimmy Owens come up, Kate Dillard, and Brennan Shepard, and said, man, I would race on a track like this every night. I mean, it was 3 wide, swapping the
Jimmy
lead,
Owens was the first one to reach out to me to let me know he was coming. So
so great.
He likes this place a lot.
So you know, and like we talked a little bit earlier, if you're going to tune that thing up for that 3-day World Outlaw special, don't go out and rent racetracks. Come on out and make a little money and race.
Well, I think a lot of guys are going to use this as a test for the Prairie Dirt Classic too. I mean, quarter miles are quarter miles. You know, I think the guy will try some stuff tomorrow that maybe he hasn't been.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't want to try it last week at a 53. He wants to go there, and he doesn't want to wait and try it for a 50.
Right.
Yeah.
He can.
Right. He can do it on a 10,000 win show.
That's exactly
and plus,
correct.
running a race team like a business, you don't have the overhead of hall money. You know, there's no overhead other than pit passes in the cost of firing the car because you're already here or traveling through.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
also one of the reasons why I've tried to share it as much as possible to get as many guys that didn't know about it ahead of time that would say, oh, hey, look at that. I can pick up a $10,000 win race right on my way through between Nebraska and Fairbury.
Well, and there's already talk amongst, you know, the partners in the group and the sponsors of if we have to make it bigger and if we can make it bigger next year or if tomorrow's successful, then we make it bigger. Because, like you said, these guys are in town. They're coming through town. Yeah. You know, so we won't have that guy saying, "Hey, I can't make it because it's kind of light or whatever." If we got to step up our game, if the people show up and the gates are full, then we'll give back.
And Tony, you just hit the nail right on the head. That's what I want to talk about and share with everybody. Guys, we actually have an input into this. Okay, we can make this thing successful by liking it, sharing with your friends. If you're going to go to the races, I encourage everybody to go to the races. Share it socially. Try to bring a new person with them. The more that we pack the stands tomorrow night for this special show, the more that we ensure that we'll have more shows like this. And then the guys that miss out on it, we'll also hear about it down at Fairbury. Hell yeah, you should have stopped there. That place is standing room only. I would like to see that tomorrow night.
And remember, we're going to be running IMCA late models and IMCA modifieds tomorrow, so you get to see the stars of IMCA out there. And weekly at Davenport Speedway, we've had three people that are in the national hunt. We've had 3 people that are former national champions run there at Davenport Speedway in the late model division. We've had national champions in the weekly show that are running the the IMCA sport mod, and man, come on out.
That's
check
right.
it out.
That's right. I think I see CJ asked if I was going to be running. Obviously, not in the sprint car. I plan on getting the sprint car out yet this year, and I would love to run a late model, but I don't have anything in the
But
works
CJ,
yet.
you got to come out the shop and help put it together.
Without a doubt.
That's the
Without
deal.
a doubt.
Hey, Tony, I wanted to ask you, too. We ask all the drivers to come in here. Do you have any racing superstitions? I mean, Webb talked about how when he pulled in the racetrack and he's on pit row, he said if his number was an odd number.
Yeah, I seen that. I
Yeah.
listened to that.
Yeah, and then Brian Burkhofer, and some of these drivers, hey, I only draw with my left hand.
That's right.
I mean, they've got all these funny things that they do at the racetrack. Did you have any of that stuff? Maybe, didn't change your long underwear for a.
I wore
week
the
if
same
you
shirt for
won?
98 races straight.
You wore what do you do?
I love it.
A pink race shirt with holes in it for 98.
right.
We ran 98 races in
got another
1995,
one.
and
Love it.
I wore the same shirt.
You gotta wear
I
it.
love it.
Well, yeah, because you think that was the reason. Why change anything?
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that fans don't realize. And baseball players and racers are the most two superstitious creatures.
I still
you've
have
ever
the shirt,
seen.
by the way.
Yeah, you gotta keep it.
And
It's got luck in it.
you're 90% sure that has absolutely nothing to do with it. However,
Yeah.
why are you going to
You're gonna
tempt
wear
fate?
it.
Well, like we said, you're talking about Nick Hoffman's win streak, and we all had, you talked about yours, and we had a stretch there where we were winning. We won 12 or 13 races in a row, so it was play the same song
That's right.
in the
You got
CD
to.
player
way it
at the
was.
same mile marker,
That's right.
heading
That's
to the
right.
racetrack, try to park in the same whatever you're doing was working. So why change it?
Yeah,
That's
you didn't
right.
want to mess
Love
up your
it.
chi. You got to
Absolutely
keep
love
the
it.
same routine down. And speaking of that, did you have a particular music you listen to on the way to the racetrack?
Pearl Jam,
Okay, Pearl
Love it.
Jam.
big
there
Pearl
you go.
Jam fan.
All right,
Nice.
we got it going on.
Good taste.
Somebody give
And I'm
Berkey
glad
a-
Brian remembered that the Bears beat the Steelers the last time they played them.
That's right, we
I'm glad
did.
he did
Yeah,
forget
that's
that.
Yeah, you know what, Steelers. Come on, man.
I was
But-
surprised that Brian said West Liberty was his favorite racetrack. Were you guys at all?
Yeah,
A little
really
bit,
surprised.
yeah.
I mean,
You
that
know-
guy, I'll tell you a quick story there. I won a trophy dash or a dash at the big track at Davenport one night for a summer nationals race and started on the pole. And like I said, me and Brian are really good friends and had a lot of good relationships and worked together good. And I said, I'm on the pole of this heat race. I said, or I'm front row outside. I said, give me some advice. I said, you're the king around this place. I mean, he used to dominate that.
Oh man,
Yeah.
He said, keep the right rear in the brown all the way around, no matter where the brown goes. I go, what do you mean? He goes, when it's up all the way up against the guardrail there at that opening in turn 2, he said, get all the way against the brown and keep. And I put that right rear in the brown, and we won that trophy dash. And I couldn't believe
I mean, crazy.
the difference of getting around that place with just keeping that right rear tire in the brown like the
Nowhere
guy
was
told me to
that.
do. So
Oh yeah. Lloyd Bacon's asking about grandstand admission for tomorrow night. Now the number I had, Tony, was $30 to get in the
that's
grandstands.
correct. $30, and that kids 12 and under are 5, I believe.
Yes, and then we had pit admission was $40.
Yeah, and kids pit passes are half price at 20.
Right. Okay.
Nice.
So there you go, Lloyd. That's one for you. Hey, got another some more stuff to give away. We'll go with what year was Santa Fe Speedway shut down? We need the year that Santa Fe Speedway was shut down.
Jeff Kunkel checking in, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, how do you
That's
like
right.
that, Jeff?
Santa
Nice
Fe
seeing you out
Speedway.
there. Ricky Weiss is at CJ.
Yeah.
All right.
Does
that's
that
a
mean
good
he'll be
sign.
here tomorrow?
Well, it's just right down the road, so that's a good sign.
I know a lot of guys were looking to practice over here tonight or stay and practice on Wednesday. But
Yes, and Lloyd.
but the problem with practicing on Wednesday is, because I even wanted to try and secure it as a rain date, is they got so much going on for the fair over there. They got to get moving along. And,
That's right.
So the minute we're done there tomorrow, they're going to be
Moving
full
stuff.
ahead,
Oh.
fair ahead. So that was why we couldn't put a practice together for Wednesday. And then as far as trying to get something together for today, just couldn't get an ambulance and get
Bob
enough
Danielson,
stuff together.
you are a winner again.
Ding, ding, ding.
So-
Santa Fe
Wow.
Speedway, Hinsdale,
like
Illinois.
that.
Yeah, we all were kind of surprised to hear that. We thought earlier 90s on that.
Yeah. Hey, up next, we still got some stuff to give away. Maybe you heard it earlier in the show. How many championships did Tonny Izzo Sr. win at Santa Fe?
No, not junior. Senior.
Senior.
Yeah, I won none at Santa Fe.
Yeah.
I never even won a race there. Well,
Come
in my
on.
four-cylinder car, I did. Never
All
won a
right,
late
there you
model.
go. You want to
Did
race?
not know that.
Okay.
What most people don't know is I never, as many races as I've won, I've never won a race that paid more than $5,000 to win either.
I mean, is that crazy?
You
But
know,
that was kind of the era
I've
we
gotten
were
more
in.
money at a second place finish
Yeah.
and fourth place in the Dirt Track World Championship and stuff like that than I did my biggest win. And it just,
Yeah.
but I mean, I won as many 5,000s as you could ever want to win.
Yeah.
Just the one thing that I hold that I guess sticks with me is that I never hit that 5-figure one.
Bob, you've won twice, so that's enough. Everybody just keep guessing there, and you'll figure it out. That's funny. Talk about all that money you won, Tony. Jeez,
Hey,
that's
Tony,
something else.
You know, if you picked up a genie bottle, and rubbed it, and a genie came out and said, "Hey, Tony, I grant you a wish. You can be part of and win any major late model race in the country right now. Poof, and make it happen." What would it be?
Oh, obviously the World 100.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that's
I mean,
something.
it just
It's granddaddy.
it changes your life. I mean, it just you're always going to be. It's Derek Cope winning the Daytona 500.
Right. But
I
he's
mean,
still.
it changes his life forever. He's
Yeah.
always going to be the Daytona 500 champion.
Nice.
They can't take it away from you. It's the biggest race.
Timbo Gould. You got it.
And just to know, it would be, obviously that's the easy answer would be the World 100, but
Nice.
I think that's the one that
Tim, I'll mail yours to you,
99% of the
buddy.
people would tell you.
Very cool.
Okay.
I did have aspirations of driving a sprint car, though. I grew
Hey.
up wanting to run sprint cars before I ever did late models, and I actually almost took a job with Jack Hewitt in the 23 car that he was.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the car
Grant
owners.
Schaff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
From down by
based out of
Peoria.
Galesburg or Peoria area, and they asked me to go with them one summer racing, and I went to a couple races with them, like down in Florida and stuff, and just Jack Hewitt was always my idol. I got a funny
Yeah,
story.
that
The
would've
first
been
time we
cool.
went to Eldora, he come over and he said, "What is wrong with you?" I said, he says, "I'm gonna make it real simple here." He said, "I'm going to punch you, but I'm going to punch you from back here, or I'm going to get up in your face and punch you. Which one you want?" I said, "Well, neither, but I guess the one up in my face."
Right.
He said, "Get up against the wall and don't get off the wall, so when you hit it, you don't feel nothing."
Hey, man, that's.
I said,
some
"But I
good
don't know where to
advice.
lift." He says, "When they start running from the motorhomes, lift
Yeah.
and then get back in it." That was his honest. That was his honest advice for me at Eldora,
Yeah.
He was a character.
and it made sense. Why travel that distance
Yeah.
to hit the fence? He said, "Get up next to it so it doesn't hurt as much when you hit it."
Smart man. Hey, I wanted to ask you, do you have any hobbies other than racing?
Eating.
Okay, that's mine. You got that's mine.
My doctor asked me the other day if I was allergic to anything. I said, "Yeah, work." No, not really. I mean, I just prepping racetracks. I mean, that's another passion I have, and that's one of the reasons I've hung on to LaSalle as long as I have here. It's such a accomplishment goal to have it turn out
Right.
the way you want it. So I ain't had a lot of, I mean, I did crack out my hockey card collection a month or two ago to just start digging through some of the old
Now
Mario, the
that's
new rookie
cool.
cards and
Yeah.
Very cool.
stuff like that. So at one point I used to collect a bunch of cards and stuff like that, but my hobby's racing, always is.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And
So
we haven't hardly gotten to talk about LaSalle. What's the plan for LaSalle?
I don't know. It's so
Moving forward?
tough. It's just the places that are successful, such as Davenport, such as Fairbury, such as Sycamore. generationals. 60, 70 years they've been around.
Sure.
Right.
LaSalle would only really be on its second or third generation, and there just wasn't a big following.
Okay.
So it's not like Fairbury where the great grandfather raced and the father raced and the grandpa raced, and that, hey, let's go to the racetrack. Even when we had the racetrack at its prime, the late model guys that came were hour travelers. They had to travel an hour or so to get there. So in today's world, it's just not feasible. You know, we cut back on running weekly a couple of years ago, and it worked out for a while, but now it's just...
It's tough.
It's tough. It's just tough. And there's just... We're in a depressed area in LaSalle. There's no doubt about it. There's not a lot of jobs. There's not a lot of... and there's awful lot of fairs.
Yeah,
and there's awful lot of festivals. And there's awful lot of free stuff that I don't blame people for taking their kids and going and doing.
So a lot of competition for the entertainment dollar.
That's it.
That's what it is.
And I can see that, especially with not running a regular program, and so it being a one-off of a, you know, it's this weekend.
So I kind of danced around there. You know, we still do 2 or 3 races there a year. But because we're not a fairgrounds, you know, like West Liberty gets away with doing 2 or 3 races a year there because they got to maintain the property year round for everything else that's going on. Right. So it's tough only doing 2 or 3 races and still trying to maintain everything there. And I guess we just, you know, don't know what the future holds. You know, it's kind of one of those things where we just...
It's such a neat facility. The proximity to the Chicagoland area. I have a lot of fans in Chicago, and you know, as the Chicago metro area has grown, now LaSalle is kind of looked at least from Chicagoland people, as the local racetrack. And it's so easy for us to get to too. That you know, we really hope that it's around for
if
years
you took the state of Illinois map, and you said, okay, I got an endless checkbook, and I'm going to go build a racetrack in the state of Illinois. Boy, LaSalle would have to be one of the thoughts.
Consideration.
We're 50 miles from Bloomington, 50 miles to the Quad Cities, 50 miles to Rockford.
Right.
I mean, 50 miles to Joliet, 60 miles to the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
It's right on 39 and 80. You
So
know,
it's just a shame. But what LaSalle, what we've determined is, let's say you need 1,500 people to make it work.
All right.
1,400 or 1,200 are traveling.
Okay.
We don't got 300-400 local people supporting the place.
Sure.
And it's no blame on nobody. It's just you have to if you need 1,500 people, we have to have 1,500 people travel. And who's going to travel 1,500 miles or going to travel that far today on a weekday with everything else going on?
Makes sense.
Hey, we're about running out of time here, so Wookie, why don't you go ahead and put that picture back up with the banners for the
LaSalle
Mars
Speedway
race tomorrow
home.
night. And any closing remarks, Tony?
Well, just once again, thanks to everything you guys are doing. Thanks to Hoker Trucking and Michelle Roofer and all the guys that are going to come tomorrow and support it, and definitely all the fans that, if you can't make it tomorrow, definitely get your tickets for August.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you tomorrow and August, but I'm one that spreads the wealth or tries to spread. If you can't make it tomorrow, I'd still like to see you guys support this show that they're doing in August or any show. I mean, if you can't make it to one of my races, make it to a racetrack. I mean, just
there you go. Support local dirt track racing.
That's right.
And there's nothing better. Pat, got any closing remarks?
You know what I'm looking forward to tomorrow and the next couple of weeks. Hopefully everybody, like I said, like and share this video, and let's keep this thing rolling.
Good. So here's what we got. Tomorrow, go over the souvenir trailer when you get to the racetrack. Bob Danielson, guest script, Dave Walden, Timbo Gould, and C.J. Crossan. If I mention your name, go over to the souvenir trailer, pick up your autographed hat, and it'll be there waiting for you. We'll see you tomorrow night at Speedway. Remember to go to Done Right TV. We're going to do a live look-in. It's probably going to be around 4:30. And I'll do a walk through the pits. Pat and I'll interview some of the top drivers that are there.
Check out the Mars Facebook page this evening. We'll have an update of the confirmed drivers for you guys.
That's right. Fantastic. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for checking us out. God bless each and every one of you. This is your host, Shane Davis, my co-host, Pat Moore, Tony, saying, hey, good night, and we'll see you around the racetrack.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.